Teddy Covers coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Teddy Covers, how are you doing on this Wednesday morning, my friend?
I'm doing all right, Jimmy. It's a rainy day in Vegas. We don't get too many of those. So one thing that happens when you live in Las Vegas and you go on vacation and it rains, you're like, okay. But it's one of those rainy days in Vegas. A lot of caffeine this morning to get yourself going.
I hear that. I actually got enormous amounts of sleep for the first time in about a week and a half. I feel good. It's not been a very good week for me so far. I did go 5-1 tailing Maxwell Smart some of his looks last night, which helped offset another losing night in NBA and NHL, which is we're still plus units on the year, but not double digits anymore. We're talking about the Lakers-Jazz game. It's a very, very, very interesting spot. I came so close to pulling the trigger on the Jazz, but I just couldn't push the button. And the under now I find very appealing. Are you making a move on this Lakers-Jazz spot? Very tough spot for Lakers. Second game in high elevation in 2 nights. Are you making a move?
So I'm considering myself a little cold in the NBA right now. And it's not like the leans haven't been. The plays that I've actually been betting and putting out, I haven't done anything right in a week. So when that happens, you don't try to beat your head against the wall. I say, all right, let's take a couple days. I'm pretty frustrated with it. All that said, all right, we had Utah the other day in Philly. They're supposed to show up for that game. After what happened in Toronto in their previous game, they're supposed to show up. And the fact that it was they made a little rally in the fourth quarter to make things interesting. They were never in the game. Something's wrong with Utah right now. They're not backable. That was an absolute Utah spot. And not that they lost, but that they were down 20, in the first half again. That's a concern. That's a big concern. So I understand the desire to fade the Lakers. It's clearly a game where there could be multiple guys sitting. All right. It's clearly a game where, LA got their win last night, second of back-to-backs in altitude. I worry very much about the Lakers' ability to bring that tonight. But Utah's not a team I'm going to lay points with. The Lakers are the better squad. I certainly wouldn't talk out of an under. It's not like the Jazz are doing anything on the offensive end of the court right now. Their offense is take a jump shot, miss it, and get back on defense. And that's not the winning formula for the Utah Jazz right about now. So no argument whatsoever with an under between the Jazz and the Lakers. I did make one first half bet today in the NBA, so I could talk about that at your leisure.
Yes, I'm going to make a move on the under. Our guy Big Ragu also on it. Capper Investment says Utah is the play. I want to take Utah, but I hear what you're saying, and I don't. You know what I don't want to have happen is I don't want AD to be announced out of the lineup and LeBron to say, "Watch this, watch what I would do." On the second night in elevation, because he's capable of doing it. Watch this. And so I'm going to jump on the under right now. Under 209.5. I'm getting, and that's only gone down a half point since the opening line. Although BetOnline's taking that down to 209. So is Heritage. Oh, and so is UWager. 209.5 at minus 105. That's available 5 times. It's 106 at Pinnacle. Let's hear what you got to the window first half. And can I make a prediction?
Yes.
Is it the Charlotte Hornets?
You know it is, brother. That's exactly who it is. Of course. And it's an obvious first half play, isn't it? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm on the Charlotte Hornets first quarter and first half. How do they not listen to Borrego here?
It wasn't just Borrego. That's the key.
And the jersey retirement last night for Draymond. And then D'Angelo Russell coming back and not being in rhythm. I'd love to hear your breakdown of this spot, but I'm happy that you're on this because I am too.
Yeah, I mean, the coaches' quotes are meaningful. I like it when I get the coaches' quotes and the players' quotes. And we got a couple of those from Charlotte. I don't want Borrego saying, all right, you guys are going to play hard early. It's like Marvin Williams said, all right, we got to get out early. This is ridiculous, So there's no urgency for the Warriors in any game, all right, particularly not in this one. And it really feels like a sense of urgency for Charlotte tonight to get out to a decent start. First quarter, first half makes a ton of sense. And of course, I mean, I laid one first half. And I think there were halves out there for the first quarter. So it's not like they even have to win by margin. All they got to do is be ahead at the at the break, and we cash. So that's one that absolutely stood out to me. And it stood out to you as well, Jimmy. So we're on the same page with that one, which may not be a great thing right now. Because like I said, my NBA's been very frustrating the last week or so.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think I feel good about it. I feel good about it. And Ragu also on that under 209. So I've locked in the under 209.5. So my only looks on the NBA right now, but I need are the first quarter, first half with Charlotte, and then the under 209.5. I do have some interest in the Chicago. Why don't I ask you about this spot? I do need to break down 2 more games with you, and we need to be quick because we have a ton to cap, but this is going to be a little addition. I'm interested in backing the Bulls at home. I don't like backing a team off of a Western road trip. It was just a 3-gamer. But it was, I believe 6 or 7 days out there, and they have no Otto Porter, and I don't trust them as favorites. But the Grizzlies without Jean Morant, what do you think about and money coming back in on the Grizzlies? So it opened at, sorry, let me get to the spreads and totals on the best odds page in the business. This bull spot opened at -6, and it's now down to 5.5 at Bookmaker. It was 6.5 across the board a little while ago. So money coming back in on, maybe it wasn't. Sorry, maybe I'm getting that confused. So open at -6. I'll double check that, but it's down to 5.5 at Bookmaker. What do you think of backing the Bulls here tonight at home?
Yeah, and Bookmaker's basically the only 5.5 out there right now. There's mostly 6s still. So conceptually, I want to be betting against Memphis. We tell them they had the great first game without Ja. Since then, not so much. I don't like the concept of. I'm not enamored with this Bulls team right now. I'm really not, because their superstars, or the guys who are supposed to carry the team. Some games are there, some games are not. And it really is that way. Markin has been a big disappointment for me so far this year. I thought he was an every game guy, and he's not so far. Zach LaVine's the same way. Is he an every game guy or not? And we're seeing a lot of hit or miss performances from Chicago, which makes me reluctant to lay points with them. I know I don't want Memphis. If I had to play the game, it would most assuredly be the Bulls. And the one I came closest to pulling the trigger on, I had so much fun with Portland last night, I thought I'd do it again tonight. And then I decided not to do it, because what happened with the Blazers last night is what could happen to them again tonight. Their bench is a problem. When the bench comes in, the other team goes on runs. And it's been that way a little bit too much for me to be comfortable with the Blazers tonight. So I lean Portland, and again, once they fell behind last night, we saw Stats, empty the bench. Nobody played 30 minutes. They were clearly letting go of the rope of last night's game to concentrate on tonight's game, and Sacramento doesn't win in Portland. But the market's already got there, bet from 3 to 4, and I really worry about that Blazers bench. So I know I transitioned. Sorry, we were talking about Chicago. I'm not going to talk you out of it. I don't like the Bulls in this point spread range. I don't trust them. And the closest I came to pulling the trigger on anything was Portland. For a full game was Portland -3. I didn't get the best of the number, and I talked myself out of it.
Yeah, the Blazers game bothered me so much last night because I lost the first half on the Clippers, and then you lost the full game on the Blazers, and I was just like, God, that's just worst case scenario. I was very upsetting. Okay, there's 2 games that I still need to cap for the show, and one is Luka's Mavericks, which cashed so easily for me. It felt like whenever Luka wanted to turn it on, he was going to take over. I can't believe this is a 20-year-old we are watching. Mavs on second half back-to-back. Easy 118-97 win at New Orleans last night. They won 8 of 9. Luka, Western Conference Player of the Month, averaging 30.7, 10.3 boards, 9.4 assists. Mavs are shooting 36.4% from 3, and Minnesota's perimeter defense is very bad. They gave up 16 3-pointers on 40 attempts to Memphis. They've lost 5 straight at home, but on the road, they've won 4 straight. They are a tricky team to cap. 22nd in the NBA, allowing 114.4 points, but their defensive rating is actually a little better at 12th in the league. And then you have Towns and Wiggins, who are coming off bad games for them. Will they step up? Towns will be defending Big Dick Zingis, and then Doncic will have Covington in his face, and Covington is a pretty good defender. I'm very curious to hear what you think of this spot. Dallas opening up at -3.5. Now they're at -4. This total at 231, now at 230. Prince of the City already said keep tailing or keep backing Luka? Luka keeps putting money in our pockets. Should we do it again tonight?
So the analogy I'm using with the Dallas Mavericks is an analogy that I is with the Golden State Warriors. All right. The Warriors were a mediocre team, and all of a sudden, the one year where they went on to win the title, it clicked. All the young pieces came together, and all of a sudden, Golden State went from being okay to being a championship contender. Dallas looks like they're taking that transition. I don't know if they're going to get there this year, but they are a one-way team for me. If I'm playing a Mavs game right now, I'm betting on the Mavs. And look how short the number is. The number is saying, all right, Minnesota's coming off a rotten effort. Minnesota's rested and Dallas isn't. Okay. I agree with all of that. The Mavs are still the better team. I can only lay with Dallas. From a total standpoint, you talked about Covington's defense. The Mavs are the T-Wolves are not a good defensive team, not by any stretch of the imagination. They haven't been. I don't see it from their leaders. This isn't a team with like Jimmy Butler. Hey, guys, play defense. That's not what's going on in Minnesota right now. So coming off a bad offensive game from their two stars, I got to lean over here, especially with the way, we know what Dallas wants to do, and this is the type of matchup that they should be able to do it in. So lean over, lean Dallas, didn't pull the trigger on either one.
I agree. And back-to-backs are tough, but not as tough when you're 20. I agree this over. Why do you think it's dropped from 231 to 230? Just like a market correction, like it just opened a little too high?
What I'm seeing, opened at Penny at 231, opened at Bookmaker at 230, and it's sitting at 230. It's not. I'm not seeing a big move. Somebody made one bet, okay, at one book. It's not like the broad market has gone nuts on this under. And when you're trying to analyze total moves in the NBA and in college hoops both, recognize that every move, I shouldn't say every, 95% of the moves that are being made, the big syndicate moves on these totals, and that's what they attack. They attack the totals more than the sides in both, NBA and college. It's all algorithms, okay? It's all, the computer spitting out a formula, and that's what the formula says. Oh, this total's too high or this total's too low, and there's whatever factors that particular formula weighs in. It's not necessarily based on any news, any injuries, or anything like that. It can just be someone's computer who predicts, someone's program who predicts, 54.5% winners over the last 5 years has spit out a number that says, all right, let's bet an under here. So it's not anything to freak out about, not anything to, in my mind, to be concerned with. You want to be concerned with getting the best of the number, but in terms of where the markets are moving on these totals, it's computer formulas. It's not human opinion, and it's not necessarily information.
No, that's very important to note. I think this over makes a ton of sense because, and I have one other question before, but the over makes a ton of sense because Minnesota is going to know that Dallas second half back-to-back, let's run them into the ground. Minnesota's going to keep moving and moving. So I'm jumping on the over right now. Over 230 at minus 108. Jimmy Stain in the chat saying that Dallas best over team in the league. If Dallas is becoming such a juggernaut, why are they just 6-4 at home? What's happening to them when they're at home, do you think, Teddy?
They got up to a rough start at home, and it's gotten better. They had a really strong home court edge last year. I'm not looking at Dallas at home and being, oh, this is a problem. Although, from a point spread perspective, they have been better on the highway than laying points at home. But again, it's not anything to take you off a game. It's all right. It's a concern, but it's not a big concern. Especially an aggregate record right now. They play better at home lately.
Okay, I jumped on the over 230. Jimmy Stain has an interesting note saying Bulls first quarter under 54 is his look. Bulls first quarter went under the last 17 of 20. Sean Glass liking Dallas first half. I would be on that if Towns and Wiggins weren't coming off bad games, because these guys, they're very, very good. Very, very talented. Towns went for 21, 5 below what he usually does. Wiggins goes for 18, 7 below what he usually does. Okay, let's keep rolling along here. The last game we didn't get a chance to cap was the Blazers game, and you took care of it for us. So Kings, Blazers, you took care of that for us. Okay, beautiful. There we have it. So there is the NBA card. I'm on Hornets first quarter, Hornets first half. Hornets first quarter, Hornets first half, and then I jumped on a couple other spots here. I jumped on the under 209 in the Jazz game, Jazz Lakers, and I jumped on the over 230 in the Mavericks game. Okay, let's roll. First question came in, Teddy, wasn't about college football. Oh, but we also need to talk college basketball with you as well. Coming off a very nice day, Teddy handed out 2 winners on this show, 2-0 in college basketball. So why don't we go there first? And why don't we let Matt Randall lead us into this? Matt Randall's taint play of the day, North Alabama +1. Said cap this game at North Alabama -7. Other plays, he's on Army moneyline, Yale -4, OSU +4, Texas State +14, Canisius +4.5, and that was almost the taint play of the day. But then North Alabama correlated to a move that Maxwell Smart is on as well. That is Matt Randall's NCAA action. And we have questions coming in, but let's move from NBA to NCAA basketball. Teddy, coming off a nice 2-0 day, is there anything you're looking at right now?
I joined Matt Randall on one of his plays. I'm assuming OSU means Ohio State.
Yeah.
+4.
Yep.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
There's a whole lot of OSUs out there.
You're right.
Yeah, I bet Ohio State plus the points at North Carolina. And this is a classic case. Well, first, let me start with I'm a Buckeyes believer talent-wise. Absolutely. North Carolina, huge tournament last weekend. I don't think, and they faced a class and Ohio State hasn't. And when you see a team that's faced a class and the other team hasn't, but the spread's really short, sometimes the markets will give you a clue. And this is one of those instances, the line came shorter than I thought it was, and that made me like Ohio State more. Count me as a Buckeyes believer. I think that game comes down to the final possession. I think Ohio State's got a decent chance to win it. I'm a Buckeye believer in both football and basketball. And the other one I played, I talked about fading New Mexico State yesterday. The other half of New Mexico State that I'm fading is New Mexico. Lobos were laying 6 this morning. Did you see that? The wise guys took that apart. It was down to 3.5. I got some 6 in my pocket. Thank you. Even at 3.5, I'm not going to talk out of Boise. I think they win the game against New Mexico. Leon Rice has built this game up for his team. Saying, reading some of the quotes, making them really scared of the pit. And plus, New Mexico has that win over Wisconsin early where they're getting all this credit. Oh, look, they beat Wisconsin. Well, 1, Wisconsin's a little bit down, and 2, the Badgers shot 2 of 26 from three-point range in that contest. And if Boise shoots 2 for 26 from three-point range tonight, I ain't cashing that ticket. But I think they might shoot a little bit better than that. Broncos plus the points in the pit in Albuquerque.
There we go. I like it. So Teddy coming off a 2-0 day in NCAA basketball, taking Ohio State, which rolls with our Matt Randall, and also jumped on Boise at +6. Great work getting them at +6 when it's dropped so dramatically. And then looking for marquee games. I mean, you nailed the marquee game. The other one would be Maryland. And Smart got Flash and I here on a Maryland future to win the national championship at 33-1. And they've looked great. Now ranked 3rd in the country. They opened up at -9 against Notre Dame, now 9.5. This total's gone up from 141 to 144. What do you think of Maryland in this spot, and what do you think about Maryland moving forward?
So, the Big Ten is tough. It really is, and we've been saying that in recent years. This year is no exception to that rule, which means, you want the battle-tested teams in March. The teams that have been facing elite competition. And that means if you're looking for futures, I certainly wouldn't talk you out of a Maryland future in that regard. I don't bet college basketball futures, the odds to win it all. It's I never hit a score that way. So perhaps it's been that my experience has left me without the desire to bet that. But again, one team's going to win it and 338 teams are going to lose it. And those aren't the bets that I'm looking for. For tonight, I wasn't excited about laying this price against a Notre Dame. Notre Dame is feisty. They're not gonna get overwhelmed in this contest by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think. And it wasn't a game where I was wanting to take the Irish. And of course, in this point spread range, you have your dog that's hanging around all game and they're down by 4 with a minute left. And now you're praying they hit threes because the fouls are going to start, I worry a lot that 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9 range in college hoops with those dogs. I've had more than my fair share, it feels, of bad luck where they're just, they're down 9 with 4 seconds left and they foul again because the refs are used to, So not a game that I got a strong take on, not a game that I played.
All right. Okay. Well, let's move on from NCAA basketball. Let's just take one last look at this card. Was there anything else that you almost got to the window with?
Sure. I could show you some stuff that I was looking at. I considered taking Nebraska plus at Georgia Tech. I thought that line was a little bit high. That one stood out to me for sure. And then I just got a little cold feet on it. So I didn't pull the trigger there. And there was one other one.
Well, here's a question coming in from NCAA basketball, so then we can add to this. Rod Z says, what does Teddy think about Air Force -2 that I have in my pocket? Rotation number 865, 866, Air Force, Wyoming. Air Force opening up as 1-point favorites, now 2 at most books, a couple 1.5s. And Rod Z wondering what you think about him having Air Force in his pocket.
I wouldn't talk you out of that one either. The other one I was looking at was UNLV, UNLV plus the points. I wouldn't talk out Air Force at all. I think Air Force is the better of those two teams, and so does the market, unfortunately. I was hoping to catch a point or two, and instead the market's asking you to lay a point or two. The Rebels, that's betting number 883. UNLV is battle-tested. They're battle-tested on the highway. I think they're better than Fresno. A 4.5 is the only way I would look in that one. But I didn't pull the trigger on it for what it's worth. So I lean Rebels, but I didn't play.
Matt Randall saying Wyoming is terrible, but Air Force is playing horrible. Yes, Hustle Wilson Max will be on the late show. Astute Chaos coming in with another play that I will copy and paste. And then we have one more question coming in here in DePaul versus Texas. Texas Tech opening up at a pick'em, now 2-point favorites. And Mark Uncafer says, how about DePaul +2 versus Texas Tech? Both have played Iowa with drastically different results. This is coming from our guy, Mark Uncafer. What do you think of backing DePaul +2 here?
I wouldn't talk you out of it. Blue Demons have, they're one of my, watch out for this team this year. I've got them on the buy sign list. So I would not talk you all at all out of a play on DePaul, but I have mixed feelings about Texas Tech. Part of me thinks that they're an undervalued commodity because they lost so much in the offseason and the program's pointed right. And this line move has told us that the markets are thinking that as well. So it's not a game that I played. But and frankly, I'd love to see this DePaul lose tonight because I think we'll get value with them moving forward.
And Matt Randall saying DePaul or nothing. Ligma Ball says Texas Tech kind of sucks being watching them. All right, so we started with NBA. We kept it on the hard court. We went into NCAA basketball. We are going to go into NCAA football. We don't have a lot of time, but we have one question that's come in from our guy, Carlos Peroge, out of D.C. And this is about NFL, and it's a very interesting question, so I want to hear it to Teddy. Says, yo, Jimmy, can you ask Teddy about the possibility of Eli Manning starting for the Giants? Does this change his handicap?
So is that a done deal that Eli was announced as the starter? I saw him trending, but I didn't see what it was.
It's not 100% confirmed, but it's certainly leaning in that direction.
It frankly would disappoint me. I'd have been far more interested in the Giants plus with Daniel Jones at QB than it would be with Eli. Eli's done. All right, Eli showed us that he's done. This isn't an Andy Dalton situation where Eli's going to come back and everyone's going to go, oh, great. Now we got a quarterback who can actually play. Daniel Jones can play. He just has a problem with turnovers, and that's been his problem all year, and it's not unusual for rookie QBs.
Oh, by the way, it doesn't
confirmed. Make me like the Giants more with Eli. I'll leave it at that. And if you're going to put him back in for a home game. Put him back in to get mauled by Philly on Monday Night Football. Yeah, I my initial lean was towards the Giants with Daniel Jones. With Eli, I don't want Eli, period. Downgrade.
Interesting. Oh, what a fascinating cap this is going to be. I thought we were done making fun of Eli Manning. It is confirmed he will be starting on Monday. Wow, wow. So then if you think Eli Manning is going to get mauled, the market does as well. Pinnacle just moved it to 10 and 9.5. So the market agreeing there, and the total is dropping. Do you think that the under is in play with Eli, or does Eli's pick sixes will always keep you off an under that the Giants are involved in?
I'm not playing Giants unders, and I'm not playing Eagles unders. I mean, the Eagles defense got torched last week. That secondary was awful. All right, everybody was open. The Dolphins' last 5 drives were touchdown, 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 touchdown. I ain't playing that team under. And the Giants' defense is worse. Yeah, no under for me.
All right, interesting. And I am close to pulling the trigger on the Chicago Bears at +3 tomorrow night. And I know we still have more NCAA football. We have Teddy all week, so don't be concerned because we're going to get to all those big college football games. But I'm very interested in the Chicago Bears at +3. Should I pump the brakes here, do you think?
So let me ask you about this. Take Dallas out of the equation, okay? Do you have a buy sign on the Bears right now?
It's because I think Dallas is a below average football team, and I get value fading Dallas because they're America's team.
Yeah, but Dallas just got wiped out on Thanksgiving Day at home. All the money came against Dallas there. It's not like the money's pouring in on Dallas here. If you're asking me which of these two teams is more likely to be good in December, I'm going to say the Cowboys. The issues that I have with the Bears aren't just Trubisky, and they're not just the offensive line, and they're not just the play calling, and it's not just a running game, and it's not just another kicker that can't hit field goals. Right? That's not just the issue with Chicago. Look at their defense over the last month. This was an elite defense. This was a defense that was capable of winning games by themselves last year. They played okay in September. Their numbers have declined dramatically over the course of the last 2 months. And I mean dramatically. I don't trust the defense. And Dallas is better than Chicago. Their offense is better than Chicago. I think their defense is right now is every bit as good. Maybe I'm talking myself into the Cowboys here. I don't like the Bears in this matchup, clearly.
Do you feel like there's any... Do you feel like Trubisky and Nagy are playing for their job on Thursday night?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, they might be playing for their... No. They both get a mulligan for the whole year. They both come back next year. Even if Chicago loses out, Nagy comes back, And Trubisky's who they got. So it'd be difficult for me to envision a scenario in which they move on from him. And especially when we talk about one Thursday night game, no one's getting fired after that. There's still 3 more games to close out the season. And what are the, at 6-6, the Bears are certainly long shots to make the postseason. But, at 8-8, you don't fire the coach. Not off a playoff year last year. No, I don't think they're playing for their jobs.
Okay. You guys, you probably talked me off of the Bears. And then I guess I'm going to need you to talk me off of the Chiefs at +3 too, because...
Nope.
Keep going.
I'm not going to talk you off the Chiefs. I'm not going to bet the Chiefs, though. Okay, this is a lesson. Part of me really thinks that the Patriots could crash and burn in December. All right? They really could. All right? Brady's not right. The offensive line's not right. The defense is showing cracks. They played 2 teams with a winning records in September, and they were non-competitive in defeat in both of those games. We have KC in playoff revenge. I mean, there's a lot of factors pointing against New England here. And again, I would not be shocked to see the Patriots have a rough go the rest of the way. But I've been burned, not once, not twice, not 5 times. And it feels like an infinite number of times betting against New England in this point spread range at home. Patriots at home in November and December have been a different animal than any other team. And in this point spread range, I just can't step in front of them. So I agree. No argument. KC's the side here. But not in my pocket, not this week, not off a loss. Patriots off a loss been pretty good in the Belichick era. And Patriots at home in November and December have been pretty good. And when we're talking about 67% ATS records with a significant sample size over a 15, 20-year span, I'm not stepping in front of that. So KC will be the lean, and they will stay the lean. Chiefs ain't, I'm not going to reach in my pocket to bet KC, but I certainly wouldn't try to talk you out of it.
Whale Capper is on the Patriots, and we did our Audible show on Tuesday. He usually is on Fridays, but he came on Tuesday this week, which I loved. And so in my head, I was, and I know we got to get out of here, so let me get this quick. In my head, I was like, the Patriots can't conduct a shootout with the Chiefs. They're going to get destroyed. And Whale Capper was like, shootout. The Patriots are going to run the ball down the Chiefs' throat. That's what they're going to do, right into the teeth of that defense. How do you see it playing out? Do you see it being a ball control, run type of football game for the Patriots?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can count on the fact that, New England doesn't want to drop Tom Brady back 40 times in this game. And if you're designing a game plan to beat the Chiefs, the game plan is run the football, keep that offense off the field. So this is not a game where I would even consider an over. I know we had a crazy shootout in the playoffs last year between these two teams. I would not expect that in the rematch.
Eddie Obasoan saying Patriots are easy to throw on. Just throw the running backs and tight ends match up with the linebackers. And that was my thing. That was my whole thing, is that the Patriots, who had the easy schedule, their defense is so good, their linebackers are bad against the pass. I'm with you, Eddie. I'm with you. We've got to go. We didn't make it into NCAA football, sadly, but we have Teddy all week. Have you got to the window with anything other than Central Michigan, which you got to on Monday? Have you added anything to your NCAA football card?
I haven't played anything. I have, however, I got a short list now. So we have games that, stuff that we're considering, and we will have wagers when we talk about it tomorrow.
Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. There you go. We will have wagers to add to Central Michigan. So Teddy covers, coming off 2-0 day in NCAA basketball, taking Ohio State and Boise. And he got in on Boise at +6. Great job beating that market move. Great job, Teddy. Love having you here.